Greetings, family, peace, love, and black power. This is Guru. Thanks for visiting my channel. Family, I just got finished posting a vlog about Kyle Johnson, the black man who wants to become a police officer. Yet, I have a little bit of news that I wanted to share that kind of goes along the lines of that vlog. Here, Sheriff David Clarke, he says the NAACP has sold out Black America. Now that's funny he would say that using that caption while also posting this picture, because as we can all see in this picture, it's not all about black folks. But see, Sheriff David Clarke, if you want to call him a sheriff, he is a coon. He wants to only point out black people. That's his motive. That's his goal. His goal is to mainly target Black Lives Matter and also the black community, because after all, we have not been supporting him at all in any of his efforts. And that's because he's a coon. He's a Sambo. He's a jigaboo. So, anyways, with this article, it says, recently, a North Carolina NAACP official stated, quote, many black people who become police officers become blue, not black. In order for you to survive in a police department, you take on the police department's ideology, ways of life, and culture, unquote. She even implies that black cops are not people. Wow. I had just got finished doing an article of a black man, Kyle Johnson, who wants to become a police officer. In that article, I brought out different things of why he's chosen to become a police officer. He wants to make a difference, and how he's going to turn in the bad cops and blah, blah, blah. And as I stated in that vlog, and I'm going to state it here, he is a naive black man. That type of black man, to me, may end up like a Sheriff David Clarke. You know, someone who is naive, who cannot see the reality, and if they do, they choose to ignore it, or they don't want to believe it. Whatever the case may be, it just doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but you know what I'm getting at. Sheriff David Clarke doesn't matter. So family, I want to share these two tweets with you as well, because they also highlight parts of the last vlog that I just did on Kyle Johnson, the black man who wants to become a police officer. Imani Gandhi, she tweets, every article in the New York Times points out that the officer who shot Scott is black. Why? What's the point? Well, because in a white supremacist society, and especially in a white supremacist police department, which, by the way, is all across the United States, white supremacy reigns in the police departments across the United States. In that type of environment, they have to point out when an officer is black who's caused a shooting, because they're rare, but when they do happen, they want to make sure that they highlight them, because in the kitchen, in a hot kitchen, when the kitchen is hot and you have a lot going on, and then finally there's a black person or a person of color involved, they need to highlight that. It needs to be focused on. So that way they can say, point their finger at you. And by the way, when it involves you, that's when they do the right thing, the so-called right thing. They make sure that they charge the black police officer. If you haven't noticed that, that's how white supremacy works. Look at how they charge people of color who work in police departments and how they don't protect them the way that they do white police officers. Just pay attention to it. I've seen it many times. Anyways, Guy Nguyen, I hope I say your name right, tweets, at Angry Black Lady, inoculation against a charge of racism. But we know in the black community that black cops turn blue behind the badge. Yes, they do. So, family, that racist statement is best understood within the context of NAACP's 2016 mission, which is to preserve Black Lives Matter's false narrative about systemic racism in policing, above any and all other concerns. This just isn't by accident. The lies about systemic racism in policing, and as a black law enforcement administrator, I can state these are unequivocally false, are purposefully crafted and calculated with a political aim. Now, family, that was David Clarke. And David Clarke continues with his cooning. He says, shame on this once proud organization. They have dwindled into one of the most irrelevant brands in the United States. Even the name is outdated. The advancement of colored people? Question mark. They have sold out their original mission of freedom for blacks and instead have become slaves to a new master, the Democratic Party. The NAACP is so desperate to provide cover for the progressives' favorite dog whistle, racism. It has now completed its journey from being a voice for the black community to essentially being the National Association for the Advancement of Caucasian Progressivism. I consider but rejected the following other C words: conniving, calculated, condescending, catastrophic, corrupt. Okay, family, I have to skip part of this because I just cannot take Sheriff Clarke's cooning. But anyways, it says, look no further for evidence of the NAACP's abandonment of its charter than its Twitter account, consumed with retweeting global warming tweets, and nothing in defense of the honorable black policemen and women who are out there bringing law and order to the black community. Excuse me, these black police officers, men and women, they're bringing law and order to the community at large, not just black communities. What an idiot! This David Clarke can just really piss a person off because he only caters to trying to bring down the black community. White racists use his rhetoric and they use his talking points as a way to jab at black people. It's so freaking pathetic. This is David Clarke who's doing this. The jigaboo, the Sambo. He's the sellout. He is the coon. Anyways, the NAACP should take note. Blacks do not care about global warming or contriving racist explanations where they don't apply. They want real jobs, better schools, and safer neighborhoods than they currently enjoy. Exactly, and that's true. I challenge the NAACP to tell us the last significant policy change on behalf of civil rights in which they were instrumental. It was 1954 in the landmark case Brown versus Board of Education, which desegregated schools. That is it. Nothing since. Ironically, K-12 public schools in urban ghettos have returned to providing inferior education and are back to being resegregated. And so, family, I want to share these two tweets. Edu Shyster writes, quote, no one declared state of emergency when Charlotte schools were resegregated, unquote. Reverend Barber on selectivity of outrage. And then we have this here, this post right here. It says, why we are protesting in Charlotte. Don't listen to the fearmongers. Our peaceful movements seek justice, not division. Exactly. Okay, family, I had to share this part because it gets a little heated right here. The NAACP has become such an embarrassment that they honored former Los Angeles Clippers admitted racist owner Donald Sterling with their Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014 and nominated him for the award again before his racist rant tape recording was discovered. That's disgusting. The NAACP, as is revealed through this statement about police, as well as in countless other ways, is dehumanizing police officers in much the same way white racists of the slavery and Jim Crow era did to blacks. Blacks were seen as subhuman. Instead of fighting this narrative, the NAACP chooses the spray-on tan of white activists Shaun King and Rachel Dolezal while paying only lip service to the plight of blacks in our nation's ghettos. Oh wow, that's okay. Who is the NAACP? Given this track record, to stand in judgment of anyone, most of all police officers, by suggesting that policemen and women cannot be black and serve in the police force. The NAACP shows just how racist progressives have become, and by abandoning the black law enforcement officers who could use their support right now, the NAACP shows just whom they serve, and it isn't the black community. Well, family, I say that Sheriff David Clarke, just like you already know, is full of you know what. He cannot be trusted. There's nothing that he says that I would trust anyway or consider. But some of the things that I just read to you, family, I know that we can agree on. We need some serious changes, especially if we're going to continue supporting or even giving the NAACP the time of day. As a matter of fact, why haven't we changed that name? Why is it still called the NAACP? Secondly, about black police officers, both men and women. We need you. Yes, we need you. But we don't need you if you support and you're upholding the white supremacists within your divisions. We don't need you there just to be observing their behavior. No, we don't need that. So if that's what you're a part of, no, we don't need you. The NAACP is right. Once you become a police officer, it seems that yes, instead of being black, you become blue first. And no, you'll always be black first. And you should always maintain that. And when you don't, you become a coon or you become complicit and you become just like them. And so black police officers are then seen as black-white police officers, or you're seen as sellout police officers, or you're seen as coon police officers, or you're just not seen at all because you're wearing blue. I haven't done this vlog yet, but there is another vlog coming. I may do it. I was trying to see if maybe someone else might do it first, because I do want to see and hear other people's viewpoints on this subject, but actually I'll just keep my mouth shut. I'm going to see if someone else posts, but the police officers, no, they need some help, because there's been reports and findings that they know that white supremacists are overwhelmingly in the police departments across the United States. There's evidence of that. They need to fix that. The Justice Department needs to weed out all these white supremacists. Because you remember in some of the shootings that they've had in the past, we found out that some of the police officers were affiliated with white supremacists. These reports have been coming out. So it's not like we don't know that. So in order for black police officers, both men and women, to serve in the departments and then do their jobs right, they need to weed out the white supremacists from the police departments. And then people like David Clarke, when you're talking about the NAACP, how it's sold out black people and blah, 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 blah. The NAACP is the National Association for Advancement for Colored People. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean black. Realize that. You do see colored people out here, laying out here around black people who are also protesting. It's not just black. Damn, David Clarke, grow the hell up. Grow some balls, dude. Stop being such a coon. Stop being a sellout. Stop being a black white man. You're a black Anglo-Saxon. You support white supremacy. It's so pathetic. And then you try to talk for black people. You can't. We're not listening to you. With that said, family, I hope you like, share, and I humbly ask, if you haven't already, please subscribe. This is Guru. Until next time, peace, love, and black power.